it's time to grab your rubber duck and wave it in the air, or anything else that you have handy. Here we go then. Yes, we are back once more. I am so excited. I really can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. Here we go. Yes, it is another English Addict, live from the birthplace of the English language. Oh my goodness. Look at all of those black clouds. It's looking very grey outside at the moment, but don't worry, because we are here together to make sure those grey clouds blow away, and they will be gone. There will be nothing but blue sky above our heads. Yes, we are coming to you live from the birthplace of English, which just happens to be England. Where am I? Come on, Mr. Duncan, where are you? Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so as well. I hope you are feeling good today. Yes, we are back together. I'm feeling rather good after my very strange week of suffering from hay fever. However, today, because everything is very wet, damp, there is not much pollen around to go up my nose. So I'm feeling much better today. Very well. Thank you very much for your lovely wishes as well. Nothing serious. Now, the problem these days is if you go out into a public space and start sneezing, people will just assume that you have coronavirus. But this thing that I've been suffering from this week has been hay fever. Nothing serious. It is something I get every year. But thank you very much for all of your wishes, your prayers. Lots of people praying. I'm sure there must be something much better for you to pray for. Maybe world peace, or maybe the end to all suffering on the planet. Not just mine. So my name is Mr. Duncan. I talk about the English language. I've been doing this for ever such a long time. Some people say too long. Some people say, Mr. Duncan, isn't it about time that you did something else? Try something else. Maybe you could be a circus performer. I would make a very good clown. I have to be honest. Many years ago, this is something I've never mentioned before. Many years ago, I almost dated a clown. That's all I'm saying. That was a memory that I'd almost forgotten about, but now I will be thinking about it for the rest of the day. Thank you for making me do that. You're welcome. So I talk about English. I love English. You might even say that I am an English addict. I love English so much. Maybe you are as well. So now we have the introductions over from my point of view. What about you? Where are you? Are you watching me in your house? Maybe you are visiting your relatives. Maybe you are out and about somewhere, enjoying the fresh air. Who knows? So you know where I am. I'm in England. I'm live right now at 2:07 on a Sunday. Of course, today is a special day for some people around the world because for those who are patriotic, it is the 4th of July. Do 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 do. It is American Independence Day today. 245 years ago, the Declaration of Independence was signed. Did you know that actually the declaration was written 2 days before. So it was all agreed on the 2nd of July, but it wasn't until the 4th of July that it was officially signed. So 245 years ago today, the United States of America was born. They said, English people, we don't like you. Get out. Get out. Sling your hook. If you want to tell a person to get away or leave, you tell them to sling their hook. You tell them to go. Get out. Please leave. Sling your hook. It's a great expression. So today we have the independence of the United States. We don't actually have Independence Day here in the UK because we've never really been independent from anyone. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not quite sure. I suppose it depends how you view the history of this country, I suppose. Here we go again. Yes, we have made it to the end of not only another week, but also another weekend. And we also have a brand new month. It's Sunday. Happy Independence Day to all those watching in the United States. I do have some people watching in the USA. If you are watching right now in the United States, please say a big hi. Are you enjoying your Independence Day? Do you get a holiday? Do you have a holiday? Now, I know it's Sunday, but maybe you get an extra day off during the week for the public holiday. So if you are watching at the moment in the US of A, please say a big hi to me. It would be ever so nice. Or wherever you are watching in the world, you are very welcome to join in today on the live stream. Of course, I suppose I can't begin my live stream without mentioning the football. Did you see the match last night? I must be honest, I didn't. I did not watch the match. But congratulations to England for scoring 4 goals. Wow. 4. 2 of them by, was it Prince Harry? Did Prince Harry score 2 of the goals for England? No? Oh, I see. It was another Harry. Okay. It's starting to rain, by the way, behind me. This is a live view behind me right now. You are looking at a live view, and you can see that the rain is coming this way. The rain is heading towards us. Yes, it is a rather gloomy day today. I think it would be fair to say that today is very gloomy. We've had a lot of rain over the past 24 hours. The rain is falling and everything is wet. We've also had a few thunderstorms as well. Thunder, rain, grey skies. So that's what the weather is like today here in England. It does not feel like summer. It definitely does not feel like summer at the moment. So there it is. That's the weather at the moment. That's what it's doing. You can see it behind me. It's raining. Cats, dogs, sheep, bears, pandas. We've got everything today. So I hope you're feeling good, and we have a lot of things to talk about today, including the subject of embarrassment. Oh, do you ever feel embarrassed by something, or maybe embarrassed about something? There are many ways of expressing embarrassment, talking about feeling embarrassed. So to be embarrassed is the feeling of doing something or having a moment that you feel ashamed of. Or maybe if people are looking at you or watching you whilst you make a mistake. Or maybe if you do something you feel uncomfortable with. Embarrassment is what we are talking about today. We also have Mr. Steve joining us later on. Steve will be here as well on the live chat. And I suppose also, shall we mention the live chat? Hello to you on the live chat. The big question is, who was first on today's live chat? Oh, very nice. Very lovely. He's back. Practicing for the new Olympic sport, which is clicking your mouse with your finger. Well done, Vitas. You are first on today's live chat. Very good, Vitas. That almost, not quite, but it almost deserves a fancy pants. And that's enough. Enough of that. We can't have too much excitement today. Not too much excitement. I will wear myself out and I will have no energy left for when Mr. Steve arrives. We will be asking Steve about his embarrassing moments. Steve actually had an embarrassing moment yesterday because he went to see his mother yesterday, and unfortunately, he had to do something at his mother's house and he felt a little embarrassed about it. We will find out what that is in around about 15 minutes because Mr. Steve is on his way. Congratulations, Vitas. Yes, you are first once more on the live chat. We also have Nitram. Hello, Nitram. Florence is here. Edith Goulet is here as well. Connell, Beatrice. And also we have Alessandra. Nice to see you here as well. It's so lovely to see you here today on the live stream. Willianne, Zuzika, Monicia, Grace Chin. Nice to see you back also. We also have, who else is here? Addie. Hello, Addie. Now, I have a feeling that you are a new viewer. You've only been watching for a short time. So, hello, Addie. Welcome once again to my live stream. You may have noticed that I'm doing something rather different during the month of July because I'm with you on Sunday live, but also during the week there will be some new lessons, word definitions during the week. So I've already made 2 last week, and there will be some more following next week as well. So that's something I'm doing during July, something a little different. I like to do things differently sometimes. Also, don't forget this month we have the anniversary of my first live stream. 5 years I've been doing this, nearly. 5 years of live streams and 15 years of recorded lessons. Oh my goodness, how do I get all of the energy? Especially at my age, because I'm not young anymore. I'm getting on. If a person is getting on, it means they are getting older. So I'm getting on. I'm not as old as Mr. Steve. Mr. Steve is older than me. Yeah. So it always makes me feel good in the morning. I wake up with a smile on my face, knowing that Mr. Steve is older than me. Not much, by the way, only 4 years. So Steve is actually 4 years older than me. Ooh. Did you know that? Well, you do now. Also, hello to Soliman. Soliman is joining us together today. Hello also to CLB. Hello, CLB, who is apparently learning maths and science. I love science, but I'm not very good at maths. I will be honest with you. I was never very good at mathematics at school. The teacher used to always shout and scream at me. Duncan, pay attention. Stop looking out the window. Always. Belarusia, hello to Claudia. Can I just say that it is very cloudy here today. Nice to see you back as well. I hope everything is all right where you are in Argentina. Hello also, Maria. Maria, I'm saying hello to Maria. Nice to see you back here today. Also, we have Marco Silva. Hello, Marco. It feels as if it's been a long time since I saw you here. Nice to see you as well. Marwa is here. Nice to see you also. We have... Oh, there he is. There he is. I can see you. Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you back as well. I hope everything is good where you are too. So we were talking about the United States celebrating its independence today. 245 years. Wow, that's a long time, isn't it? Christina says, Mr. Duncan, you might be old, but you have a very young spirit. Thank you very much for that. I do try my best to be happy. And sometimes, even though sometimes, because I do get the occasional ache and pain in my body. So this is what I'm talking about, you see. Sometimes there are small signs or indications that you are getting older. So sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I feel a little pain in my shoulder or in my neck or maybe in my leg. And then I'm walking around for about 10 minutes. My legs feel as if they've gone to sleep. So it takes a while in the morning to get my body working properly. I will put that down to age. I think that is because of my old age. I think so. Hello also to... Hello, Moon. Hello, Moon. I like your name, by the way, because we have a half moon at the moment. It is waning at the moment, the moon. Vittoria. Oh, Vittoria wants to talk about the subject that we have today, which is embarrassment. Sometimes I feel embarrassed when I have something practical because I am a little bit clumsy. Yes, I suppose so. We often think of embarrassment coming from not being able to do something very well. So maybe you try to do something, but unfortunately you don't do it very well. So you might feel embarrassed because of that. So I think it's a good subject, actually, because it is something that we all feel. Something we all feel from time to time. So what about you? Have you ever felt embarrassed? Have you ever felt embarrassed about something? A moment of time, maybe, that has made you feel a little uncomfortable? So is there something that's ever made you feel embarrassed? What is embarrassment to you? What is the definition of embarrassment to you? So that is what we are talking about today. To be embarrassed, to feel embarrassment. So have you ever felt embarrassed by something? I, as a child, used to be very embarrassed by my body because I was so skinny. I was very thin as a child, really thin. And I hated wearing anything that showed my body, such as my arms and my legs. So I didn't like to wear short T-shirts. and I didn't like to wear short trousers because I didn't want people seeing my legs. So I suppose as a child I felt a little embarrassed by myself, my own body, because I was really thin, very thin. I'm sure you've seen the photograph that I show you sometimes of my very thin body when I was a child, but I always felt very embarrassed. I suppose another word you could use is self-conscious as well. You might feel self-conscious of something or self-conscious about something. So it is possible to have something that makes you feel embarrassed all the time. It might be something that you are very aware of, maybe your appearance, or maybe something that you've done in the past that might still embarrass you because you think other people still remember it. So embarrassment. Maria Giovanna La Rosa says, I feel embarrassed if I have to speak in front of lots of people. It is true. It is true. One of the hardest things to do is to speak in front of lots and lots of people. If you are in a big hall, maybe you have to give a speech to your work colleagues or a presentation, especially nowadays, because a lot of people are doing things through the internet. So we have things like Zoom, where maybe in a large company, someone will have to give a presentation. So even if you are doing it through your computer, it can still feel very difficult. You might feel slightly nervous or even embarrassed. Maybe the fear of making a mistake can make you feel embarrassed or awkward. Awkward. Now there's a good word. I like that one. Addie. Hello, Addie. Mr. Duncan, I told my girlfriend to watch your lessons. Let's hope she will, because even if English is our first language, we dinna ken it all. So I think you mean we don't know it all. We dinna ken it all. That sounds like something you might say in Scotland. Am I right? I think so. Your lessons give off such a cracking vibe. If something is cracking, it means it's great. Cracking. Something is great. Wow, that was a cracking party last night. So if something is cracking, it means good, great. It was fun. It was exciting. It was brilliant. It was cracking. Talking of things that are cracking, and I'm not talking about Mr. Steve's face. We do have Steve here in a few moments joining us on the live chat. And today we are talking all about feeling embarrassment, to be embarrassed, to feel ashamed. We also have Pedro Belmont. Hello, Pedro. Yes, your number one fan will be here in a few moments. I've actually told Steve that he has to calm down because I do feel that he gets a little bit too excited when he thinks of Pedro. So it's your fault, Pedro. I don't know why. Ever since Steve has seen your pictures of your muscly body, he seems completely distracted. Completely distracted. Florence says, Mr. Duncan, we have learned a lot from your lessons. It is a great way to improve our English. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say. I try my best, even if sometimes maybe I might fail, but I always try my best. I do. So we have Mr. Steve coming soon. I think before then we will have a little break with one of my full English lessons. We are going way back in time to one of my earlier full English lessons, all of which are available on my YouTube channel. You can find them all there. So this is taken from, we have some excerpts from Full English number 16, and then after this we will be joined by a man who sometimes feels very embarrassed, especially when he's doing certain things. Coming up soon, we have Mr. Steve.
Do you ever find yourself stricken with shyness? Do you ever feel shy? Would you describe yourself as a shy person? It would be fair to say that we all feel a little shy from time to time. There are certain situations where shyness might affect you. Perhaps you are meeting someone for the first time. Even worse, perhaps you are about to meet many people who you don't know. They say that loneliness is a crowded room, and for a shy person, this is very true. We often equate nervousness with being shy. You might not know what to say in certain situations, which can lead to the appearance of being shy. A lack of confidence in certain situations can lead to an attack of shyness. We often position shy alongside awkward in a sentence. A shy person might be described as apprehensive, bashful, coy, retiring, and timid. A shy person might find themselves being accused of being antisocial or standoffish, as their silence can sometimes be misinterpreted as arrogance or conceitedness. I know this because it has happened to me. I can sometimes be quite shy in certain situations, which can lead to some people asking, "What's the deal with your friend Duncan? He won't speak to anyone. He seems a bit arrogant to me." No, I'm not being arrogant or stuck up or conceited. I'm just a little bit shy. That's all. Have you ever taken part in a contest or competition, and after the result or winner has been announced, you feel cheated? You find yourself thinking that perhaps the winner was chosen for a reason. Perhaps you felt that the competition was rigged or fixed. To rig something means to arrange a situation in such a way that the result is assured. To rig something is to cheat and fix a game or contest to go one particular way. For example, in a talent show, the winner might turn out to be a relative of one of the judges. This might lead people to think that the contest was rigged or fixed. In sport, a boxing match can be rigged so as to allow people to place heavy bets on the winner. One of the boxers taking part in the match is paid to take a fall so as to ensure that the other one wins. Almost anything can be rigged or fixed so as to give someone an advantage or a definite chance of winning. The world of English is indeed a fun and exciting place to be, but it can also be confusing for those learning the language. Some English words especially can create confusion and lead to mistakes being made. A good example of this confusion is the similarity between the words momentum and memento. They seem to be related, but in fact they are not. In physics, the word momentum relates to the quantity of motion of an object based on its mass and speed. That is to say, how heavy and how fast it can travel is related to the amount of energy it can create. This energy is classed as potential, which relates to what the object can do. For example, the weight and speed of a rolling rock will give you its potential energy value. The movement is its momentum. The force and thrust created is called impetus. Movement is impetus. Momentum can also relate to the driving force or impetus of a course of events, how one action or event can have an effect on other things. The size of the effect and how long it will last relates to its momentum. The discussion of a controversial topic will gain momentum as more people become involved. The word memento refers to an object that has been kept as a reminder of a past event. A memento is a souvenir. It is something that has been put aside as a treasured possession. A keepsake is a memento. A photograph taken at a special event can be a memento. Something bought during a trip to a particular place is a memento. So as you can see, the words momentum and memento are very different indeed. And you can find all of my English lessons on my YouTube channel. They are all there for you to watch. Yes, we are live now, coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which is England.
Hello everyone, hello Mr. Duncan. What a hot, humid, rainy day it is here in the UK. But
Do you like my little duck?
is that because of the wet weather outside?
It is good weather for ducks because it is raining today. We've had a lot of rain, and this is my little duck. Would you like to hold my duck?
Why not?
Don't worry, it's not a euphemism.
Is that one of the ones that lights up when you put it in your bath?
This is a very clever duck because when you put it in your bath, it will light up, and you can have a bath in the dark, just in case you feel embarrassed by your body.
When was the last time you had a bath, Mr. Duncan?
When you feel embarrassed by your body, or maybe something else, you see.
Lots of people are talking about how embarrassed they are about things. Quite a few sort of clothing-related embarrassing moments that people have shared with us. Going into a bank, somebody said, and realised that their shorts were inside out. We've all made clothing mistakes when you don't check yourself properly before you go out of the house, and then someone points out something that you've done wrong. You know, you've got a dirty mark or something. Shall I share an embarrassing moment?
Steve had an embarrassing moment. Is it the one?
No, I meant another one.
Oh, another one. We have one that happened yesterday at Mr. Steve's mum's. Something a little embarrassing that made Steve uncomfortable. Tell us what the other one is.
I've got a food-related embarrassment.
Oh.
So I'm in sales. I think I've explained that before, and I go see about 4 customers a day, something like that.
Okay.
And I'd had my lunch, and I like to have a nice sticky sort of creamy cake at lunchtime. So I'd had this delicious cake for lunch, and what I'd forgotten to do is check in the mirror. Went to see about 2 or 3 customers in the afternoon, and didn't realise nobody had said anything. I'd got a great big blob of cream on the side of my face and icing. And nobody had said to me, "Oh, do you realise you've got some..." I looked in the mirror. I was so embarrassed to think that those customers had seen me, and I'd obviously bitten into a great big cream cake at lunchtime and didn't realise I got icing and cream all over my face.
Was it a cake or a pie?
It was a cake.
Okay.
So I probably was in a rush, stuffed this cake into my face, and didn't check in the mirror in my car. Oh, yes, I look lovely and beautiful for my customers. No. Anyway, that was embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. It's a bit like having something between your teeth as well. You might find yourself in a situation where you've had salad for your lunch and then you go somewhere and you've got a little bit of food stuck between your teeth, but you don't realise until you get back home. And all day you've been going around meeting all of your customers with a great big piece of lettuce or maybe spinach.
Spinach is the one.
Yes.
That people talk about that gets stuck in your teeth, and it's dark, so it shows up and it stays there a long time.
Yes.
But yes, people have been embarrassed about all sorts of things. Talking English, speaking English, practicing English in front of groups of people, people find embarrassing. I mean, you used to teach adults, well, you used to teach all age groups when you were in China, and you used to find that people were embarrassed to practice their English in front of other classmates,
Yes.
other colleagues.
I think speaking out loud, a lot of people feel embarrassed to speak with their native language. So imagine trying to stand up and talk in a language or use a language that isn't your first language. So I can imagine that it's very, very nerve-wracking. You feel quite shy or afraid or even embarrassed. So you can feel embarrassed by something that you haven't yet done. That's strange. So we often think of embarrassment after we've done something, but you can also feel embarrassed before you do something. So if you are about to do something, you might feel embarrassed by that thing that you've got to do. Speaking in front of people is a little bit like performing. And the more you practice doing it, the easier it becomes. So I think this is a very common problem for people learning English and wanting to use English in front of other people. You might find that embarrassment is part of the process, but it is also a normal part of doing anything.
Christina never feels embarrassed at all. She says, doesn't feel embarrassed. And Pedro made a comment earlier about don't fear making mistakes. You can't actually. You shouldn't. You shouldn't fear it because it's only when you make mistakes that you learn, and therefore next time you hopefully won't make that same mistake again, and then you become better at what you do.
Yes.
It's like taking risks. If you never take risks, you don't achieve much in life. We have to take risks, and speaking with colleagues, trying to learn your English skills is a risk because you might be embarrassed or you might make mistakes, but it's the only way to learn. But it's our egos that get battered and the embarrassment.
You've got to do things badly before you can learn how to do them properly.
You can only prepare so much, can't you? At some point you have to just take a leap of faith and do whatever it is.
Yes, I think really a lot of it comes down to self-confidence, having confidence in yourself, having the confidence to do something. So that is, again, something you have to learn. Just like learning new words, you also have to learn confidence, how to do something from a point where you are learning to do it to the moment where you can do it confidently. So it's all about learning. Everything in life is learning, and quite often you have to do it slowly. So we actually call it a learning curve. So the learning curve is where you start from one point and slowly you learn that particular subject. So the curve relates to your improvement
over time.
That's right, over time. So as you learn new things, you become more confident. So learning leads to confidence.
Yes, thank you, John. Please give the lesson a like and a thumbs up so that more people can see you. Thanks for making that comment in the live chat. So have you talked about any embarrassing moments that you've had, Mr. Duncan?
Well, I remember one particular embarrassing moment on my first day ever at school. first day at infant school. So the first school that you go to, besides kindergarten or nursery, because I didn't go to that because my mother wanted to look after me at home. So I never went to kindergarten. I didn't go to nursery. I didn't start school until I was about 5. I know that sounds strange because a lot of kids nowadays start school or they go to kindergarten or nursery much younger. So my first day at school, we had to meet in a large hall, an assembly hall. And we were all standing up, and then the headmaster, or should I say the headmistress at the time, because it was a woman, who, by the way, went on later to slap me. She gave me a slap.
Not the first person that's done that.
But that's not the story. The story is the headmistress said, "Sit down, children." So everyone sat down, except for me. I didn't sit down. I was very slow to sit down. So my friend next to me pulled on my shorts. He pulled them to get me to sit down. Unfortunately, my shorts came down, but I didn't. So this is my very first day at school, the very first moments of my school life. And I had my shorts pulled down.
Very embarrassing, Mr. Duncan. Very embarrassing. Did you reveal anything that you didn't want other people to see?
Well, I was only 5. So,
Right, okay.
to be honest, there wasn't much there.
You weren't really worrying too much at the time.
Some people might say there isn't anything there now.
So, Mr. Duncan, what is that the theme of today's lesson? Embarrassing moments.
The clue is in the fact that we've been talking about it for a very long time.
Good.
Yes, it is. Mr. Steve yesterday had a little embarrassment, didn't you?
Well, I'm not sure I want to talk about that, Mr. Duncan, really.
Well, I do.
Well, can I make it a very brief comment then?
Mr. Steve yesterday, because you know...
No, I'll tell the story because Mr. Duncan will go on forever and ever.
I won't go on forever. I just want to explain this clearly. Mr. Steve yesterday went to see his mother. Unfortunately, he wanted also to go to the toilet. Not a number 1, but a number 2. And as we all know, sometimes having a number 2 in a place where other people are nearby can be very embarrassing. So Steve had to go for a poopy at his mother's house, something that can be a little embarrassing because the downstairs toilet for the guests is very close to the place where you sit around in the lounge. It's very close. So Steve had to be very quiet. He had to do everything very quietly so his mother couldn't hear him in the next room having a poop.
My mother is 90, but her hearing is 100%. She hasn't lost any of her hearing at all. But I turned the television up so that Yes, toilet embarrassment is something that a lot of people get from time to time. Anyway, luckily when, there was a fan, I made lots of noise other than the noises that you would expect to hear to try and distract away from what was happening. But
you mean this noise?
We didn't get that yesterday, Mr. Duncan.
Do you mean that noise, Steve?
Definitely not that noise.
Not that noise.
Valentina said she had something chocolatey, and didn't check her face in the mirror. Went to school and had chocolate all over her upper lip. A chocolate moustache. Well, if you lick your lips, that must have been very tasty.
Very nice. I had an interesting message earlier about misgendering someone.
Oh, that was a name, misgender.
No.
Okay.
If you misgender someone, it means you think a person might be a woman or a man, but they are the opposite. Something that is a very hot topic at the moment, I'm sure you know. But yes, we had a very interesting message about someone who worked in a bank, and a person came to them for some assistance, and they used a name that seemed like a female name, in fact, is a female name, but also it can be a man's name. So that the lady behind the counter said, "Oh, you will have to ask her to come here to the bank." And he said, "Her? No, I'm the person that I'm talking about, and I'm a man." So it can happen sometimes, especially certain names.
Yes.
So there are names, maybe not just in English, but also other languages as well, that can be used for male and female. For example, Jack can be a man's name, but also it might be a name given to a girl as well. You can call a girl Jack. So quite often it is an abbreviation of Jackie or Jacqueline. So you have to be very careful sometimes when you are using names. Michelle is another one. Michelle. So it is a variation of Michael. But you can also have Michelle as a male name.
Can you?
Yes.
I've never heard of anyone called Michel, a man.
Especially if you are pronouncing it with the French accent.
Well, Joe's a common one in English. Joe. Joe is a man's name, but Joanne is a woman's name, and that's often shortened to J-O. Joe. So I've got customers called Joe, but you can't tell from the pronunciation because they sound the same. J-O being the abbreviation of Joanna, which is a female's name, and Joe, it's short for Joseph, isn't it? And it's J-O-E.
Yes.
They sound the same, Joe. Only when you see them written down can you tell that J-O is a woman's name.
Okay.
Short for Joanne.
Yes.
Joanna.
So when you say something, it sounds the same. You can't see the spelling. So when you say a word, you can't see the spelling. So if you are using a word that sounds like another word, maybe a male name, that can also be a female name as well. So there are quite a few of them. There are quite a few.
Joe's the common one in the UK, I think.
Quite often shortened from Josephine.
Yes, that's it. I've got a friend, his name's Courtney. So Courtney can be a male or a female name, depending on what country you live in.
Yeah,
So in some countries, Courtney can be a male name. Here, we would tend to think of Courtney as being a female name. But I've got a friend who's a man called Courtney.
There is a famous singer, of course.
Yes.
Courtney Love, which I believe wasn't Courtney Love the girlfriend of Kurt Cobain from Nirvana? I think so. I'm sure it was Courtney Love.
Pedro's gone.
Pedro never stays very long, I've noticed.
Well, sometimes he does. It may be something to do with the 200 years of Brazilian independence that is being celebrated
today.
Well, I'm not sure if it's today.
Okay.
September.
Oh, okay. So Pedro is starting early.
Oh no, it's 2022. It's next year. Okay. Fine. Well, I think what Pedro's doing, forget that.
You really do read those messages clearly.
Forget that. I think what Pedro's doing is he's been reading a book about gladiators, Pedro said earlier, and Spartacus being one. So I think Pedro is in training
what is
being
this,
a gladiator.
What does this have to do with Brazil's independence?
Nothing. Well, Pedro's from Brazil, and I'm just linking things together.
Badly.
And maybe, Pedro, because of his muscles, is going to dress himself up in a gladiator's uniform. I think he probably admires that look.
Steve, earlier you accused me of talking about one thing for too long, taking too long to get to the point.
So I think, yes.
But the reason why we're talking about independence is, of course, today is a special Independence Today, you see.
Is it? Oh, yes, of course.
Is it?
It's the 4th of July.
Is it?
I've forgotten the date, Mr. Duncan.
Do you know how old the United States is?
It's 200 years old.
It is 245.
245.
Happy 245th birthday to the United States.
And, of course, they're celebrating their independence from us.
Yeah, as everyone does.
So...
I don't think, is there any country in the world that at some point isn't celebrating their independence from us?
Well, I'd like to know if you're celebrating, you Brazilians watching us, very loyal band of people from Brazil that watch Mr. Duncan. So you're celebrating your 200 years independence, which is a huge milestone in September next year. So who are you celebrating independence from? Who were you colonised by? We'd like to know.
In Brazil, I'm going to go with one of two. See, this is where we are showing our ignorance here.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
So
I don't want to show my ignorance, which is why I'm asking.
Well, you kind of are by not knowing.
Well, I don't know. Why would I know? Mr. Duncan?
It's either I'm going to go with the Spanish or the French.
I don't think it's us.
It's
You can't blame us. I don't think you can blame us.
There's normally three possible countries. It's the Spanish. I'm not being rude here, by the way, because we're
Portugal,
We're
says
there,
Tomek.
Steve. I'm talking. We're the worst. We're the worst.
Well,
So
the worst.
we are actually, unfortunately, Steve. I hate
Well,
to
I
say
wouldn't.
this to you.
I don't know. I don't know the statistics. Anyway, it was Portugal, so it was close
Oh, okay.
to Spain.
Then. Yes, Portugal. Well,
Portuguese.
yes, of course. The Portuguese had their fair share of colonising.
Yes.
But we unfortunately, I'm not saying that this is a good thing, but we win. We win the competition for conquering other countries.
Not sure about that. It's nothing to do with us anyway.
It is. It's true.
So yes, interesting. So I wonder, in Brazil, do people still speak Portuguese? Are there still people that speak Portuguese? I wonder. Be interested to know.
Maybe. Well, this is one of the reasons why religion is celebrated in or followed in many countries. The Philippines, you see. So the Philippines is mainly Catholic because of the people who colonised that particular country in the past. So you do find there are still traces or signs of the past in many places. If you go to Malaysia, for example, Malaysia used to be a British colony. It's not anymore, but it did have independence many years ago. But there are still streets that are named after British kings. So it's still there now, and many of the colonial buildings still exist in Malaysia. So it is very interesting. You can still look back and see the colonial past of certain countries. But we were never colonised. Well, we were.
Well, we were, yes.
We were, but that was a very long time ago.
The French. Yes.
And the Romans, of course.
Yes.
What-
And
what-
Nordic people as well.
Nordic
Yes.
people. Yes.
The Vikings.
Yes. Those damn Angles.
Yes, it's not like we've never been conquered. We have. But the last, I think, was the French, wasn't it? Which is why we've got so many French words derived from the French language in English.
Yes. You will find that the English language is full of lots of interesting words that come from French, Germanic, and, of course, let's not forget our old friend Latin.
The good old Norman conquests.
Hello, Latin. Nice to see you today, Latin.
Portugal celebrates Independence Day as well, says Lewis. Portugal is the 10th of June. So who were Portugal? This is getting quite complex now. So who? Portugal are celebrating their independence, but from who? So they've colonised countries, but they were also colonised. You see, hundreds of years ago, people were invading countries all over the place.
Yes.
Left, right. I mean, if you left, right, and centre, they were invading.
It was always
always going on.
They were always climbing over each other's fences.
Boats were arriving on the shores and colonising countries. That's what went on hundreds of years ago.
Hundreds of years ago.
Yes, thousands of years ago, probably.
Thousands of years ago.
I think sort of invasions were very slow events in those days because they didn't have that many boats. So I don't think you used to have sort of hundreds or 1,000 years ago. You might not have had big battles and one battle solved it all. You probably had lots of little incursions. Incursions. There's a good word, Mr. Duncan.
It's a great word.
Incursion. So you have a little sort of some mini invasion.
I think you might be having a mini invasion at the moment.
John says that he is still his wife's colony. He's been colonised by his wife.
I like that one.
So that's very funny. Yes, it means. Does that mean that your wife owns you, John, and is able to rules you completely, and has complete autonomy over you?
Okay. What a strange way of describing a marriage.
Does she make up all the rules as well that you have to follow?
That should be one of the vows, by the way, when you get married. Do you promise to have autonomy over your husband forever and ever until he leaves you after a blazing row and slams the door and goes to live with his secretary? Do you?
Portugal was part of Spain.
Yes,
Thank
well,
you, Joseph.
originally, yes.
Joseph, yeah.
And also don't forget that France originally was part of Germany. It gets very confusing.
We all invaded each other
Let's
back
face
in the
it.
day.
Yes.
There was a lot of colonisation going on.
Yes. I love the way you're so flippant about it.
Well, imagine all the atrocities that were committed.
Yes. But you don't sound so cheerful about it.
I'm not sounding cheerful about it.
Who remembers
but,
those atrocities?
But there would be. I mean, there's very rarely a peaceful takeover of another country.
No.
Very rarely.
No, very rarely.
But anyway, we're talking about embarrassing moments. I wonder if there's ever been an embarrassing attempt. Well, the Americans have had many attempts at trying to invade countries and it's gone horribly wrong.
Yes, well, I suppose a good one is Cuba,
Exactly, that was the one I was thinking of.
where they tried to blow Castro up with an exploding cigar, which
Didn't go very well.
Which is funny when you think about it. It's one of the strangest ways of assassinating someone with an exploding cigar.
Well, it's original.
Steve?
And no one's successfully managed to colonise Afghanistan. Everyone's failed at that one. Not that we, Russians have had a go, Americans have had a go, we've had a go. Everyone's had a go.
Why do you always sound so jolly when you're talking about this?
I think isn't it the Chinese that's one of the only countries that have never really been invaded.
It's
or
been
colonised.
invaded. Everyone's tried it. The Americans did. The British did.
I know tried, yes, but not successfully.
Yes, there was an invasion many years ago in China.
Yes, but how long did it last? I don't think they were
Not long.
ever colonised. Everyone's trying to invade. I'm talking about
Anyway,
actually colonising.
Steve, as much as I'm enjoying this,
Probably the only country that haven't.
Okay.
Somebody mentioned earlier about
Can I unplug you?
about the Opium Wars,
Yes.
which yes, we saw a program about that recently.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Horrible things that countries do to other countries. There
Yes.
we go.
Once again, we are kind of responsible for that.
Well, I think we were for that one.
Well, not us personally.
The Americans were involved as well. Right. Oh dear.
Anyway, it's
We're not responsible for anything that's happened in the past.
No, we're not. No,
No.
definitely not. I'm pretty sure of that. Well, I'm from France anyway, so my lineage, my family, part of my family is from French descent. So there. It's time for those flags of the world. Talking of which, we were talking about flags. So look out for your favourite flag. Maybe your flag is there amongst the many fluttering flags of the world. It's raining, it's pouring.
Mr. Duncan is snoring.
And Mr. Steve is boring.
Thanks a lot.
Do you like that? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
China was invaded by Mongolia, says Joseph. Yes, that's probably correct. Interesting, yes. Well, Mr. Duncan, what are we doing next?
Is that it? I thought there was a little lecture coming there.
Nope.
I hope you enjoyed those flags of the world, and I hope you saw your flag there somewhere.
Please bear in mind, we're not history teachers, so if we don't always know the facts, which is why we often ask
for
the facts.
But there is a fine line.
Which I'm not a teacher at all.
There is a fine line between having knowledge and appearing completely ignorant.
That's it.
Unfortunately.
Better to keep your mouth shut or ask if you are in any doubt. That's embarrassing.
It's better to be thought as an idiot than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. I like that.
So, Mr. Duncan, what's coming up next?
What's coming up next? Well, we are talking about embarrassing things, words connected to being embarrassed. So what is embarrassment? What is it? How do we describe it in English? Well, you can say you are embarrassed, to be embarrassed. To be embarrassed. Or, of course, personally, you can say that you feel embarrassed. You can have the feeling of being embarrassed. Or the feeling of embarrassment, which describes the actual emotion itself. The feeling of being embarrassed. A moment of intense self-consciousness. I like that. I think that is the best definition of embarrassment. The intense feeling of self-consciousness. For example, when I had my shorts pulled down at school on my first day, I felt very self-conscious for various reasons. One, because, I was standing in front of everyone. And two, it was the day that I decided to wear no underwear. No, not really. No, I'm joking about that. But it was embarrassing. So self-consciousness, quite often the feeling of being aware of your own inadequacies or weaknesses, or maybe something that you've made a mistake doing, perhaps. The feeling of humiliation. Oh, we've all been there. We've all had that feeling of being humiliated. Maybe in a contest. Could you feel embarrassed in a contest, Steve, maybe? Something like that?
Yes, we like watching this quiz show called Bullseye, where people are putting darts into a dartboard. And they score points and prizes.
Throwing.
And sometimes they come on claiming that they're very good darts players.
Yes.
And then when they do start playing, for whatever reason, nerves, they perform very badly and get very low scores. And you can see that they're very embarrassed. Because, quite often people will tell the world that they're very good at something.
Yes.
Or will say, I'm very good at something or other.
Yeah, boast
About their achievements. But then when they publicly do something, maybe nerves, self-consciousness gets the better of them, and you see that they're not very good, and they will look embarrassed. And of course, you get physical signs and symptoms of embarrassment.
We'll look at that in a moment.
Okay.
So a public error or mistake, something that you are doing in front of other people, but you don't do it very well. So as you just said, maybe you've been telling people that you are very good at something. You've been boasting, oh yes, I'm a very good darts player. Yes, I'm going to do very well on Bullseye tonight. But then when you start throwing the darts, you keep missing the board. So you're not as good as you said. So sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to prove that you can do it. So there is no point just saying it. You have to prove it. And quite often, when you come to actually proving something, you might not be as good as you think. And it can be very embarrassing.
Yes, and I've been in sort of. I'm not very good at general knowledge, so sometimes that we might have quizzes at work, and I very rarely get any answers correct because one, my brain isn't quick enough to come up with the answers, and two, I might not know the answers anyway. So that's a bit embarrassing when you have a low score, because it's then everyone perceives you as someone who has poor general knowledge.
So your fear also could be not only not answering the question, but also answering the question incorrectly. So that can be just as embarrassing. So not knowing something or just making a guess and getting it wrong can be equally embarrassing. I think so. Yes, that's quite good. Here's another one. To make a mistake in public. Yes, a public mistake.
Yes.
Something that everyone can see.
And these days could well be recorded for everybody to see forever.
Yes.
I mean, go back sort of 50 years or even go back 20 years, and the chances of you doing something that would be recorded on a mobile device would be, unlikely.
Well, they didn't exist.
Well, that's what I mean. But now everyone's got a mobile device with a high quality camera in it. So any mistakes that you make, any embarrassing moments could well be captured forever and put onto YouTube
Yes.
for everybody to laugh at.
There are many embarrassing moments recorded here on our live stream, and that's one of the things about doing something live. I suppose that's one of the reasons why not many people do this live. So there are many people, many English teachers, for example, who record their lessons, but they never do it live because this is very difficult.
Oh, Mr. Duncan.
We make it look easy, don't we?
Well,
We make it look very easy.
William Mello says in Brazil there's a word that they use commonly now called cringe. One generation it might be ashamed of another generation, and it causes somebody to cringe, which is a word that we do use here. It's other people being embarrassed at
Yes.
somebody else,
Yes.
isn't it?
So maybe you feel cringe when you are feeling embarrassed for another person, but you can cringe for yourself as well. You cringe. Oh, why did I do that? Why did I say that? So it is a sort of reaction to something that you find embarrassing. So it is actually the reaction when you cringe. Oh,
Quite often in somebody else.
why? Why
So-
did I say that?
William, I think it's yes, something could be cringe-worthy. You can cringe at yourself, can't you? But that would be just embarrassment.
Maybe you are watching a bad movie that's been made and it's awful, it's terrible. Maybe you're watching the latest Fast and Furious movie and you are cringing because they go into space. Yes, I'm not joking. In the latest Fast and Furious movie, which is where they race around in cars, Steve, they actually go into space
Well,
in a car.
we know that all programs come to an end once they put aliens in there.
Yes.
So yes, one generation can cringe at the actions of another generation. They feel it's other people feeling embarrassed because of somebody else's behaviour, but
Yes.
they might not necessarily be embarrassed themselves. It could be, you see somebody dressed in very provocative clothing, short skirts or something like that, and you might cringe because that person, to your mind, it looks awful and you think it's embarrassing, but to them, they don't feel embarrassed at all. They just feel really good. But you might cringe at somebody else's actions.
Yes, or maybe another person's bad taste. So maybe they're
Yes.
wearing clothing that really doesn't suit them. Maybe they are overweight, but they are wearing very tight clothing. You might cringe because, oh dear, you feel embarrassed on behalf of them. To reveal...
Sorry, can I just say, Olga makes a very good point. If you watch yourself at parties, she says that she doesn't like watching somebody has filmed a party and she's dancing she hates looking, and that is something you can cringe at yourself in that situation.
Yes.
Oh, you can't look.
Well, again, you're feeling embarrassed by your
Yes.
own actions,
Yes.
but they're in front of you. So we can feel self-conscious, but also we can feel embarrassed by watching ourselves afterwards, like Steve does. Steve always feels embarrassed when he watches this afterwards.
I don't watch this afterwards.
But I don't. I don't feel embarrassed by any of this. I have no shame.
And Jimmy makes a good point.
Okay.
Embarrassing moments can become inspiring material for creating comedies.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as they say, comedy and tragedy are sometimes one and the same. They are the same thing. So you can have something that is dark or maybe something that is serious, but it can still be handled in a funny way. You can have embarrassing situations that can be used for comedy.
Yeah.
A revealed secret, Steve. I've got to get to this. A revealed secret might be embarrassing. Can you think of anyone recently?
Oh, yes.
Can you think of anyone recently who has been caught in an embarrassing situation?
A certain politician.
No longer working in his job.
Strangely, you should put that on because Anarchy says, did Mr. Hancock resign or was he forced? It was probably forced.
Yes, maybe a bit of both.
The latter, I would say.
I think sometimes what happens, you always know that a politician is going to resign when everyone around them is supporting them. It always happens. This has happened so many times in the past. I stand by Matt Hancock and everything he did. I still stand by him, and I don't think he should resign. But secretly, behind the scenes, everyone is telling him that he should resign, and they always do. So yes, a secret, something that you want to keep a secret, has been revealed.
And quite often when you get married, the best man gives a speech
Okay.
at the marriage. So, and then he will reveal lots of embarrassing. So your best man is you're probably your best friend, somebody that knows you very well. And they will then tell the whole audience, all the wedding guests. And that is the idea behind the best man's speech. He will then reveal lots of embarrassing moments that other people didn't know about to the whole wedding party.
Yes. But nothing that could end his marriage.
Nothing that could end his marriage, but embarrassing things he might have done when he was at university
Yes.
or at school or on parties with all the lads.
Yes. When he
That
used to
sort
play
of thing.
when he used to play the digestive biscuit game, that sort of thing.
I don't know, Mr. Duncan. Sergio says, do you have a word for feeling embarrassed when someone else has done something embarrassing?
Well, I think
Well,
cringe.
that was cringe, wasn't it?
Cringe. Yes, you see something that is embarrassing. You see another person humiliate themselves, but you also feel it
Yes.
as well on behalf
Oof.
of them. Oh dear, I can't
Dear.
believe
I can't look.
I can't believe you just said that.
Can't believe that
I-
person's dancing like
I
that.
can't believe that he is wearing those clothes. They really don't suit him. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's not the 1970s anymore. Oh, I'm cringing.
Somebody gets up to make a speech in front of all the company employees and it's a bad speech. They're very nervous and they're just fluffing all the lines. And an actor on stage or a singer that forgets the words of the songs or forgets the lines in a play. You feel embarrassed for them, so you're cringing. Oh, dear. Oh, get them off. Yes, so cringe. If you go, we've seen many amateur dramatic productions, and we've been to see them, and they've been very poor performances, and you're cringing. You think, oh, I can't watch. I'm
Steve-
so embarrassed for all these people.
Steve's been in quite a few of them.
Exactly.
I've been sitting watching Steve, and I've been cringing
Yes.
watching him. But we have actually been along to see performances, amateur dramatic performances by people who are not professional actors. They are just acting as a hobby. But we have walked out before now. Anyway,
Olga makes a good point, sorry.
this is why we always run out of time.
It seems politicians are never embarrassed, even when they don't do what they promise, get caught, like Mr. Hancock. But they don't. They never really look embarrassed. It's because somebody else mentioned earlier that they're probably all psychopaths.
Yes,
Belarusia.
Or sociopaths.
Yes, so they don't actually care. They do things and hope they don't get caught. But when they do, they couldn't care less anyway. Because in politics, certainly in this country, if you've had to resign for something, well, you'll probably be back in a job in 2 or 3 years' time. Someone will just say to you, "Oh, just lie low. Give it a couple of years, and I'll get you a job back in the cabinet again."
Okay. And now, once again, we find ourselves swimming in the sewer of politics.
Blushing, yes, that's it. Says Wiley Quang. When you're embarrassed, you blush.
Can I continue with my lesson? Embarrassment is a mental and physical reaction. And this is one of the interesting things. So maybe happiness, when we think of being happy, you think of happiness, oh, you're happy, but physically it can lift you up. It can make you feel better, just like being upset or sad. But embarrassment is a very interesting emotion because it is sort of in between those things, because you do have very obvious physical side effects of embarrassment. One of them, of course, is the feeling of being sick. You think of, you feel embarrassed, you might feel a little nauseous, you might feel as if you are going to be sick. Maybe your heart starts to beat really quickly, really fast. And of course, the one that we often think of when a person is embarrassed, they will blush. Your face will turn red with embarrassment, and that is because of your blood pressure rising suddenly. So because of your system, your body system, it is producing maybe something that is making your heart go quicker, so adrenaline might be flowing around your body.
I'm not sure of the exact mechanism.
And then suddenly your face will become very red with embarrassment. So you can see a person become embarrassed. It is something you can physically see. It is something that a person has no control over.
Valentina says that I often blush when I'm embarrassed and I can't help it. It's true, I'm the same. If I say something wrong and somebody points it out and people are sort of laughing at you a bit, I will blush straight away. And it's just a human reaction to embarrassment. It's very difficult. It's an automatic reaction. You've got no control over it.
No.
And all the blood vessels in your cheeks dilate in your face, and all the blood goes to your face, and it's a sure sign that you're embarrassed. And it's difficult to suppress that, to stop it.
Yes.
Because it's an automatic reaction, autonomous.
I sometimes wonder why it is a thing. I sometimes wonder why do we get embarrassed? What is embarrassment as a physical thing? Does it help you in any way? I don't know. Were cavemen embarrassed when they tried to catch a dinosaur and it was running too quickly and it ran away, and the caveman is standing there going ugh, 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 and his face is going red? But it serves no purpose. What is the purpose of embarrassment?
There must be a reason for it, built into sort of human psychology. There must be an evolutionary purpose to it.
Yes. I think it's all connected.
Know about that, but
I think it's all connected to the fight or flight. It's that sort of thing. So it is built in there, because you never see animals become embarrassed. You never see an embarrassed cat. You never see cats going, "Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Oh, did I just do a wee on your carpet? Oh, I'm so embarrassed." Nitram says some comedians base their comedy on embarrassment. Yes, there is a definite connection between feeling embarrassed and humour. Definitely, there is no doubt about that.
Yes. People talking about not liking blushing. What is the embarrassment of riches? That's an interesting one. Asked Jamila. Embarrassment of riches. Perhaps some people who've got lots of wealth feel embarrassed because other people haven't got it. Maybe that's what that's about.
Yes, you might feel awkward because you have a better life. I remember when I was in China, they used to throw money at me all the time for doing everything. And I used to get really embarrassed by it. I used to find it embarrassing, not necessarily from doing the job, but everyone wanted to pay me for everything. If I walked up the road and crossed over to the other side, someone would come up to me and throw money at me. Not really, but you know what I mean. It's very strange, very strange situation when you're in that position, and suddenly, and certainly from my point of view, I always felt slightly ashamed and embarrassed by it, because everyone could see you, everyone was watching you, looking at you, and sometimes following you around.
Yes, Sergio makes a good point. That psychologically this is all connected to shame and guilt, and it's a social thing, and it's very ancient. It's a deep rooted. It's an automatic reaction of your body to blush in embarrassment. It must have a purpose in society.
A social mistake. Here we go, Steve. A social mistake or a faux pas. Ooh.
Well, William has just put that on the live chat.
Well, this has been on the screen for ages. That's why.
Right, okay.
This is here, you see, on the screen underneath us
Yes.
for about the last 5 minutes. A social mistake or
I see.
Yeah, there we are. That's us. There's you and there's me. And underneath there's things.
Well, I'm so busy reading the live chat.
Well, it's in front of you as well.
Well, I'm not reading that bit. I'm reading the live chat, Mr. Duncan. You're not going to make me feel embarrassed.
I'm going to embarrass you now. A social mistake or a faux pas might cause embarrassment to someone. So you might do something that creates a feeling of embarrassment. You humiliate yourself or maybe another person as well. Sometimes friends, I don't know why, you have a friend who always tries to embarrass you and humiliate you. You know who I mean. And I don't know why. Sometimes friends do that. If you are close to someone, I suppose you can do it like we do. We always try to embarrass each other. But it's fun, you see. We're doing it in a light-hearted, fun way for most of the time.
Faux pas. Yes, it must be a French word.
It means full step.
False step.
A false step
Right.
is a faux pas.
Right, that's it. You say something very embarrassing or do something, and it's seen as something that just shouldn't be done. It's seen as a bad behaviour.
Yes,
in some way.
that's it.
I mean, you might, for example, here's an embarrassing moment. You might turn up incorrectly dressed for an occasion. And, for example, I did that once because I didn't read the invite correctly. I was invited to a dinner. I was in this choir in Birmingham, and they had once a year. Once it was a 25th anniversary meal.
Okay.
And we were all invited to it. I didn't read the invite correctly. We were all supposed to be dressed in dinner jackets and bow ties, or the men.
So what did you do?
I just turned up in a shirt. I didn't know it was at this big expensive venue, and I was the only person there without a bow tie or a jacket. I felt very embarrassed, and that was a faux pas, because I got some very look at him, I can't believe he hasn't got I got some very funny looks from people, some organisers that thought that I should have, but I didn't read the invite. I didn't know.
This sounds about right. This sounds like you, Steve, not reading things properly.
Yes, that's right, but you can say the wrong thing, you could swear. when you were giving a speech, and that could be seen as a faux pas or something that you shouldn't do.
So, sometimes, of course, we might not want to be seen with another person in public because we feel embarrassed to be with them or to be seen with them. I mean, Steve's mum, for example. When we're with Mr. Steve's mum, she will just pretend not to know us if she meets a friend. Yeah. She just pretends not to know who we are. These two men, I don't know who they are. They keep following me around. I don't know who they are.
Because my mother is embarrassed.
You might bring shame on yourself.
Knowing about the two of us.
You might bring shame onto yourself or to others. A shameful revelation will most likely be embarrassing. So we can also talk about shame as well. Shame, I suppose you could say that they are the same thing, shame or embarrassment, but shame is normally a much deeper emotion.
Yes.
It's normally because of something that you've done that is unacceptable, completely unacceptable. Maybe you've been caught doing something. So there are many situations where you might feel shame. You might feel embarrassed by being caught cheating or lying.
Yes.
We often do this. We've all had it where we've been caught in our own lies.
Yes, shame is something that when you've really done something, it's beyond embarrassment. You're not just feeling awkward. It's something that will... Embarrassment is something that is temporary, wouldn't last very long, whereas shame could last a whole lifetime. If you did something, cheated on your partner, for example, and other people found out, and in the church, say you were a big church goer, you went to church and somebody found out that you cheated on your partner, that would be seen as shameful in a church environment, a religious environment.
But then let's face it, most things that people do might be seen as shameful in the religious circle. Everything.
Yes, shame is something that religions often use to control people. If you were to do something, shame is such a horrible feeling that is used to control people in religions quite often.
So when we talk about embarrassment, it will come and then it will go. You normally recover from embarrassment. However, shame is something you quite often don't recover from. And especially in the olden days, Steve. Remember in the olden days when a person did something bad, they would be paraded through the streets. They would be made to stand outside on show, to be humiliated by all the other villagers.
Well, in this country, I mean, when I was growing up in the 60s, probably not so much then, but certainly when my mother grew up, having children out of wedlock, having children when you're not married, if a woman was to have a child and she wasn't married, that would be a very shameful thing. It's not now, of course, but at all. But even when I was growing up, it was still, people would talk about it. If you went to school, I mean, I used to, there were one or two people at school and everybody knew. I mean, this is back in the 1970s, and everybody knew that they didn't have a father, for example, because the mother had the child, and everybody knew that the mother wasn't married.
Yes.
And people would be, the child would often feel very embarrassed because people would talk about it and tell them, you haven't got a father, your mother isn't married.
Okay, Steve, I think we've...
But that wouldn't happen now.
Yes. Well, it's strange how attitudes change. I always remember my grandmother, so I'm not trying to offend anyone here, but this is going back many years, 45 years ago. I remember my grandmother saying that a girl who lived nearby had taken in a black man. And for some reason, she thought that was shameful. So it's interesting, isn't it? How these attitudes change. But I do remember my grandmother. I'm not saying that my grandmother was a racist, but certainly attitudes.
Mixed race marriages or
Yes.
relationships were sort of whispered about.
Yes, like Steve is doing now.
But not anymore.
No, that's
not
it.
anymore.
But it is interesting.
Which is good.
It is interesting how things that were embarrassing or shameful in the past are no longer shameful.
Is anything shameful now? Is anything shameful?
Yes, it is anything.
You often think now, is anything actually shameful? Because you have some criminals who commit murders and then come out of prison and write books and end up on television.
Do they? Who?
I don't know, but it has happened.
Oh, there's so many of them.
Things like that, Oh, there's a good one, Jamila. Having egg on your face.
Yes.
If you have an egg on your face, it means you're embarrassed.
That's a thing that you've done that causes embarrassment to yourself. You end up with egg on your face. Anyway, Steve, we have to move on. You know why?
Is it that time already, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, we have 24 minutes to do our sentence game. But first of all, I just want to show you something, Steve. During the week, I have a new friend outside my window who comes every day and sits outside the window. And I was very lucky that I was able to catch my little friend on video. Would you like to have a look? Here it is now. Ooh. Look closely. So this is the little bird that comes every day now and sits outside my studio window waiting for the flies to come. There is a little robin, and every day this robin sits outside my studio window waiting very patiently for some flies to come along, and it's looking at me there.
Look at that.
Isn't that amazing? So it just sits there for a very long time, very patiently, waiting for a fly to fly by. I thought that was quite nice.
Are we going to see it catching a fly, Mr. Duncan?
We are not, unfortunately. I wish we were National Geographic, but we're not, unfortunately.
Dawn Peacock, hello Dawn, makes a lovely comment, says, wow, this is a real conversation. This is so needed for language learners. So glad I found you.
Thank you, Dawn.
We're glad you found us. Please subscribe, please like, and please come back next week.
Yes, thank you very much, Dawn Peacock.
And Mr. Duncan will be here on Sunday.
Yes.
On Wednesday.
No,
No?
it's July. During July, I'm doing special lessons every day. Some recorded lessons are being published every day. And
So now I've got egg on my face. I'm embarrassed
Yes.
because I didn't correctly say to you when Mr. Duncan's next live lesson was. So it's next Sunday.
you got it wrong.
Right, please
So-
subscribe to Mr. Duncan's channel. He has hundreds and hundreds of videos on there.
Yes, but what I was going to say, I'm not on Wednesday. So during July, there are some slight changes. Don't let Mr. Steve confuse you. I'm not with you on Wednesday because now lots of people will join me on Wednesday waiting for me to be live. I'm not live on Wednesday during July, but there are some lovely new video lessons going on from Monday to Friday. So lots of new things appearing. But of course, I will be back with you next Sunday with Mr. Steve every Sunday.
Can you just do something very quickly? Can you just say hello to Emaim?
Emaim, hello Emaim. Nice to see you here today, Emaim. Apparently you are watching at the moment, and can I say a big special hello Emaim to you from Mr. Duncan and
Mr. Steve.
Mr. Steve as well. Thank you for joining me today and joining Mr. Steve also. The sun is out. The sun has come out. It's lovely now behind us.
We've got guttering problems, Mr. Duncan.
Okay. So we don't have time to talk about the leaks.
Next time.
Maybe outside.
Disdain, there's a good word. Marietta says uses the word disdain.
Disdain.
You have disdain.
It's a sort of almost revulsion,
Yes.
or you look down on someone for something they did. You have disdain. It's a great word, by the way. It's one of the best. Here we go then. It's time to play the sentence game. All of today's sentences, Steve, are connected to embarrassment. You're right. It's all about embarrassment today. Feeling embarrassed and shamed. It's time to play the sentence game with Mr. Steve and Mr. Duncan. And here we are. We're back for another 20 minutes. So we have plenty of time to play at least 3 rounds of the sentence game. Very simple, very easy, nothing too difficult. All you have to do is guess the words that are missing. And all of today's words are connected to being embarrassed. They are embarrass words.
If you didn't spell the word embarrass correctly, you would feel embarrassed.
Yes, and let's face it, a lot of people do spell embarrass or embarrassed incorrectly.
Double R and double S. Very
Yes.
quite unusual spelling.
Think of a bar and think of an ras or ass. So it's bar with 2 R's and ass with 2 S's.
Oh, you're not going to forget about ass, are you, Mr. Duncan?
M bar with 2 R's and ass with 2 S's. That's how you spell embarrass. Very nice. Here we go then. Here's the first sentence game today. All you have to do is tell me what the missing words are. I've made them easier. After last week, Steve was very angry.
Even I've got that already.
Steve was very... Well, make your mind up.
I normally don't get them, but I've got that one straight away.
Last week, you were criticising me for making them too difficult, and now you're criticising me for making them too easy. I can't win. I can't win.
Well, I mean, we want to be able to involve everybody in the sentence game.
So we have 3 missing words beginning with S, P, and M. And you can see next to each letter there is the number of letters that each word has. I explained that rather well.
Right, okay.
All we are waiting for now are some answers, some correct answers, hopefully.
Well, Maura's got at least 2 words right there. But I don't think the first word is correct, Maura. If you shove somebody up at a party, that could have all sorts of connotations.
You never want to shove anyone anywhere. You might push someone around. You might push someone. You shove them. But it's not that. It's not that.
Well, yes, Olga has suggested seduce.
Ooh.
But that wouldn't be correct use of English.
Yes. You don't seduce a person up.
No, you just seduce somebody.
It means you give them your sexy eye. You say, hey, come here. Ooh, you're nice. Hi there. You give them a little wink. Yeah, come on. How you doing? Yeah.
Yes, you can't. Again, these are words that fit. Shamed fits as well, but you don't say somebody shamed. We don't say he shamed me up. That wouldn't be correct use of English. He shamed me or she shamed me at the party. It could be. So you'd need to take out the word up in there. If you took out the word up, you could use the word seduce and shamed and shoved.
Yes. But we're not talking about that. We are talking about something that is connected to embarrassment. So if you embarrass someone, you embarrass a person, it means you do something. You do something
Wow.
to them.
I think Vittoria has come up with the correct word
Yes, I
that
think-
fits grammatically well with that sentence.
Tomek also.
Shamed.
Tomek.
Well, that doesn't quite fit, does it? You don't. He shamed me up.
No,
That's what I was just saying.
That's
Weren't
it.
you listening, Mr. Duncan?
I was listening.
You
But
should feel embarrassed
I
now.
was just saying that Tomek was one of the, of the guesses. Shamed.
Oh, I see, yes.
Vittoria. Oh, I think Victoria is...
Has got all three. Yes, you see, Maura gave us maybe the last two words correctly,
Yes.
and thus helped other people to give suggestions.
So
for the
as
first word.
I always say, it's a joint thing. Everyone works together. We're like a big team helping each other out.
Yes,
So-
you can't say the phrase "shamed me up" is not correct grammatical
No.
English.
No. So shall we have the answer?
If you left out the word "up," it would be correctly written.
Here's the answer. I think Matt Hancock is still with us. I don't know why.
Well, it should be shameful, but I don't think he is.
No.
I think his wife. I think he's separated from his wife now, hasn't he? And not the only party member who has separated from his wife this week in our current government cabinet.
I don't know what it is about politicians and relationships. They always seem to be very strained and difficult.
I keep saying you can't use the phrase "he shamed me up." Well, maybe in modern sort of street talk, maybe in modern street talk by young people, you can use that. Maybe
Yes.
I'm wrong.
Shame up.
But I think if you wrote that in an English exam, you would be marked down. He shamed me up. Yeah, maybe,
Can I
the
give,
guys and gals on the street, the young set, the young people a lot younger than us, maybe they're saying he shamed me up.
Hello.
Maybe
fellow young people.
that is used in the school playground.
Okay, Steve, you've
Maybe
again.
I'm right.
Yeah.
Wrong, rather.
Here's or both.
Uh,
Here we go.
Olga says...
Here's the answer, Steve.
Olga says that I've made her embarrassed by...
Why?
Maybe you can seduce somebody up. If you're...
No, you don't. You don't seduce up.
I know, but I'm just saying in sort of modern street talk,
Yes.
or all the young people, maybe you can.
Yes. Show up is a phrasal verb.
Yes.
So he showed me up at the party with his bad manners. So if you show up someone, it means you create embarrassment for them. You are doing something that is embarrassing. You show up that person. Or, of course, you can show yourself up. So to show up yourself is to embarrass yourself.
Yes, if you show somebody up, yes, he showed me up. So people were then looking at you, and you felt embarrassed because of somebody else's behaviour.
Yes. So that's that one.
So you went with your husband. Maybe he got drunk at the party and was embarrassing himself in front of everybody, and it showed you up because you saw yourself as this certain type of person, and suddenly your husband made you look bad in front of all your friends. Showed you up.
Maybe you have a wee over the dinner table whilst everyone's sitting down for their folly grey.
So all of the words like shamed and seduce and shoved could have been used if you took the word up out of that sentence.
We've only
Unless you're, 16 and on the street you're saying,
no,
he shoved me up at the party.
there's no one's saying that. Here's another one, Steve.
Hope I made that clear.
Clear? I'm not sure. It was clear for a while, and then you carried on talking, and then you completely made it all like mud again. Yes. Here we go. So we have 3 missing words. I something the something to open up something me at that moment. Ooh.
Interesting. Let's see if teamwork gets it again.
Embarrassment. Phrases connected to embarrassment, being embarrassed.
Well, Lewis, if Lewis said that I thought the meaning of show up, it was to arrive late.
Ah, yes. Well, to show up is just to arrive.
Yes, if you just say, I showed up at the party, he showed up at the party, that means that they've arrived.
Yes.
But if you say somebody showed you up, it's a subtly different way. Somebody showed you up, it means you were embarrassed because of something that they did. So yes, you are right. So all you've got to do is put me in between show and up.
How many times are you going to explain this? We're on the next one, Steve.
Okay. Well, no, I'm just,
Yes. I something the something to open up something me at that moment. Embarrass. Embarrass a person.
All right, looks like Maura has...
No.
Not
One
quite.
one of those words is incorrect, but we have Vittoria. Vittoria has got it right. Vittoria, well done.
Ah, right.
Yes. So this is something you might feel if you yourself is embarrassed. So the feeling of embarrassment, you might wish for something to happen. Something that won't happen, but you want it to happen because you want to vanish, you want to disappear. So here is the answer to this one. That was a quick one, wasn't it?
It was.
Hopefully
So Vittoria has got it grammatically correct.
And Vitas as well.
Yes. Yep, well done.
Time's up.
And the time is up for Mr. Matt Hancock.
Time is definitely up for him. He'll be back. So here is the answer to this particular sentence game. Bing! Oh, I wanted the ground to open up under me at that moment. So the feeling of embarrassment, you can express it in some very interesting ways. And this is one of them. I wanted the ground to open up under me at that moment. It means you want to vanish, you want to disappear. So imagine suddenly disappearing into a hole in the ground, because then no one can see you. So it's a great expression, and you will hear this a lot used a lot in English. I wanted the ground to open up under me.
You just wanted to disappear and nobody could see you anymore.
Yes, because of my embarrassment. Very embarrassment.
Olga says we have the same phrase in Russia. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
If I had a hole to jump in, I would. I like that. That's very good. Here's the final one. We have time for one more sentence game before we go. It's gone fast. I have to be honest. We have something different, by the way, today to eat.
I was going to mention that.
Yes, we have. Yes, well, you can still mention it in a few moments. So we have something different. No tea cakes. Something better than that.
Victoria says in Spain they also have, I won't pronounce that, Tragame tia. I won't even attempt to pronounce that.
Tiara.
But it looks like it's a similar phrase to, I wish the ground would just open up. You're embarrassed, you've done something, made a terrible speech, and you just want to disappear from view.
Tragame tiara.
And in Italian as well.
Is that good? It's my... that was quite good. Here's the final one, Steve, before we go. I have never something in all my something.
First one to get it gets a kiss.
From Mr. Steve. So I'm sorry about that. And The second prize.
Mr. Duncan.
The second prize is 2 kisses from Mr. Steve. I don't know what it is. How can I know what that
A
is?
strange sound coming from. Oh, I think somebody next door is
Okay.
decorating.
Okay, Steve. Good. We need that information. So I have never something
Oh,
in all my life. Oh, I see. Who was first?
well, I think there were 2 people at exactly the same time. Because at 15:54, Maura and Valentina
Okay, that's very precise.
both put answers down within seconds of each other. So it would have been embarrassing for me, I think, and maybe also for Tomek, if Tomek had got it right, because I'm going to have to give a kiss to the person that got it. You know, would Tomek be embarrassed to get a kiss from me?
I think so.
Maybe I would be embarrassed. No, I wouldn't be embarrassed.
Sorry,
But actually, technically,
I'm expecting some letters from someone's lawyer.
is that correct, Mr. Duncan? Let's see very quickly before I start blowing kisses to people. And then if it's not right and I blow the kiss
Yes,
to the wrong person,
Okay, we have quite a few, don't we, coming
then
through?
I would be embarrassed.
So we have Mura, Valentina.
Who came in at exactly the same time.
Yes, so that's good.
Uh,
And Tomek as
a
well.
minute later,
Yes.
but probably wasn't looking at the live chat. So, I'm just going to go on, Mr. Duncan. What's the answer?
Olga says, "I want a kiss from Mr. Steve." you can't. Fortunately for you, you can't smell this video. Let's just
If
say
you could, you'd realise Mr. Duncan hasn't had a bath for 10 years.
that's nice.
Come on then, Mr. Duncan. Where's Matt Hancock?
I have the fluff in my belly button to prove it. Okay. What? Matt Hancock. That's if ever there was a name that was unfortunate, he has a very unfortunate name, I think. So yes, we have the answer coming up now. Ooh, I have never felt so humiliated in all my life.
To Maura.
Ooh,
To Valentina.
ooh,
To Tomek.
yes. You're not supposed to do that, by the way.
To Jimmy.
You're not allowed to blow kisses.
To Olga. To everyone.
Ooh.
They're probably all being sick.
Yes, you're supposed to be socially distancing.
That is true.
Including through the internet, you see, as well, the internet. You're not allowed to blow kisses, even through the internet.
I'm not sure about a lot of comments. There we go, Vittoria. You've had the kiss. So has everyone. So yes.
The kiss of death.
Oh, Tomek says, I will take a kiss from you, Mr. Steve, even though I'm far from Pedro's body shape. Well, you know, it's not all about the body. The mind is important as well.
To be honest with you, I think most of us are far away from Pedro's body shape.
Yes, even geographically, a long way away. Yes, the mind is important, but, you know, let's not go into that.
Always end on a strong joke.
I'm always prepared to blow kisses to anyone.
Yes.
But certain individuals may...
Even when he's out in the street. He gets some very strange looks when he's blowing kisses to strangers.
Yes, so it's not tea and tea cakes today, Mr. Duncan. Well done to everyone who got that right,
Yes.
by the way.
No tea cake today.
No tea cake because we've gone off them a bit.
Yes, okay.
When you've gone off something, it means you don't like it as much as you did before.
Faster.
Mum baked a lemon drizzle cake.
So Steve went to his mum's yesterday to get a hug and a kiss and a little cuddle as well. Very nice. But also, Steve's mum made a delicious lemon drizzle cake.
Which was a surprise to me. So it's a sponge cake and with sort of lemon essence lemon juice on the top. And it's a popular cake here in the UK. If you go to a cafe and you want a piece of cake, you will most of the time find lemon drizzle cake as one of the alternatives, as one of the choices that you would have, along with Victoria sponge and cherry cake.
So
Lemon drizzle.
I thought you were going to go through the whole menu then.
No, Olga, my mother, isn't with me. She's back home, which is about 80 miles from here, 100
Yes.
kilometres away.
That's what you call a buffer zone.
Yes.
That's
Oh, Christine has given us a kiss back.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's nice to get a kiss back. So, yes, so we're having a slice of my mother's lemon drizzle cake. Although, to be fair, we did have a slice each last night when I returned.
It was very nice.
So we're going to finish that with a cup of tea. And must be the first time in 5 years that we've not ended the live stream saying that we're going to have a tea cake.
Well, sometimes it's a hot
or
cross
a
bun.
Hot cross bun.
Hot cross bun.
Piece
tea
of
cake.
my mother's home-baked cake. You know, my mother bakes cakes and she takes them to her hairdressers. She bakes them a lemon drizzle cake and they don't charge her for having a haircut.
Okay. So if you want to get something free in life, make a lemon drizzle cake and use it to bribe or blackmail someone.
I would like to take a photo, Rosa, of the lemon drizzle cake. Unfortunately, there's only a very small piece of it left because we ate most of it last night. So unfortunately, but if you look up lemon drizzle cake, it's a sort of oblongy shaped cake with lemon on it. It's delicious. But if you don't like lemon, you won't like it.
Okay. I can't believe that this is almost like a lecture.
Yes, maybe I'll make one and show you next week.
We will be asking questions in your exam that's coming up soon about lemon drizzle cakes.
Sergio's having a cup of tea and a bit of vodka. Good.
I think I might be.
I'd like some as well. Right, drizzle. That is correct, Olga. That is how you spell drizzle.
Yes.
Drizzle. It just means... Go on.
Yes. Oh, no, it's okay.
A drizzle, a little bit. It's a liquid. You're putting a little bit of liquid on something.
Yes.
In this case, lemon juice.
Yes. So something that's falling sparingly, like rain, can drizzle. So this
Yes.
morning we had lots of drizzle outside the
A
window.
little bit.
Do you want to go, Steve?
I will. I shall go and put the kettle on.
Yes.
Lovely to see you all today. It's lovely to have your company and see you all next week.
Next week. We are back next Sunday. And of course, during the week, don't forget also we have some special lessons, some videos that I'm making during the week. So I won't be here on Wednesday, but I will be with you next Sunday. And this is happening just during July. Thank you, Mr. Steve.
Thank you. See you next week. Bye.
And he has gone. Look at the clouds in the sky. They look almost angry. If I had to describe those clouds, I would say that those clouds are a little bit angry. That is almost it from me for today. It's almost time to say goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm back next Sunday. Don't forget to give me a lovely like as well. Please give me a like. If you like this, please give me a lovely thumbs up, as you can see from my hat. Give me a lovely like, and then YouTube will post this live stream everywhere. Almost everywhere. Thank you for your company. It's been a good one, a long one. 2 hours I've been here, and I will be with you next Sunday for another 2 hours of English Addict Fun, live from England. Thank you very much for your company. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it hasn't been too embarrassing. I hope you didn't feel too much shame watching me.
Maybe you are watching me in secret. Maybe you are not telling your friends or relatives that you watch me, because perhaps you would feel embarrassed if they found out. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you at all. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for watching. See you next Sunday and also during the week with my recorded lessons. And of course, until the next time we meet here on YouTube, keep that smile on your face wherever you go amongst the human race. And of course, ta-ta for now.